On
They
that
are,
topic, right? And now that you've seen social become a lot more varied as a subject, because I think even when we were growing up and when we were doing all these things, Facebook and did not have the same impact in terms of social advertising, etc. Right? It's still early days
Correct.
for that. How do you look at the rise of TikTok and Insta? Because I think you can build a social angle to it. I'm not talking about just ad campaigns. I'm talking about being like a commerce driver.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think the world has changed, and I think I remember the times when we used to use Facebook or YouTube way back in TI cycles in 2010, actually, 2010, 11, which is 9, 10 years ago. And I still remember the amazing organic traction we used to get back then. Of course, those are unimaginable these days. But the power of social still remains, right? I think people are spending a lot of time on these platforms, and I think Instagram still continues to be the driver in that space, followed by TikTok, and then followed by Facebook and others. Whereas if you look at content that's more discoverable, content that's going to stay there for a while, content that's there for all kinds of topics, YouTube actually is still very, very powerful there. So I think each of these platforms are, in some sense, kind of find a niche for themselves, and you need to figure out which ones make sense for you. Because there are some brands who want content that stays for a longer period of time. So then YouTube makes a lot more sense. But there are some brands, you look at a Dunzo or a Durex or a Swiggy, who want to catch on to that every moment that you're going through as a digital user and be part of that digital moment. And they want to be on social all the time, doing stuff on the fly, really engaging with you. For them, obviously, an Instagram makes a lot more sense. TikTok makes a lot more sense. So I think each of those platforms have really found a niche, and Twitter, of course, has its own niche for certain kinds of spaces. And I think it is still something that drives the digital ecosystem forward, and definitely brands have to find which ones make sense for them.
Have they unlocked? Do you think they have unlocked social commerce to a large extent?
Much more than the platforms, the e-commerce platforms have, definitely, for sure. And I think Instagram in specific is definitely trying out a lot of new things with influencers, with the content creators, with the YouTube live, with the Instagram lives, with the filters that they've created. There's a lot more engagement with the content creator and the user, and hence there's a lot more interaction and eventually social commerce as well. And now they are launching one-click buys, which is also in beta. So you would eventually be able to see a content creator create amazing content about, let's say, a bunch of stuff, and you can just click and buy it right there during the live session. That's the power of many of these platforms in the coming months.
Actually, tell me, what are these filters? I'm still figuring this out. Like how like, do you understand this?
Oh, well, it's our job to understand it, to make sure our clients understand it. Yeah, it's actually a way to extend that interaction, right? For a long time, our interaction was comments or us sharing the content. But I think the platform soon realized that that's not enough, right? That doesn't come close to even us in our real world interactions, right? Our real world interactions have so much more emotion or so much more depth to it. And they wanted to find a way to create some of that depth through augmented reality, through these filters, through these interesting items that they have on Instagram and also TikTok and Snapchat, where it kind of creates an engagement. It forces you to say something. It forces you to kind of interact with that audience. And I think that's really what many of these platforms try to do. So even for the campaigns that we build, we find a way to make sure how do we use some of these new features, because it makes sure that the user remembers your brand. It makes sure that the user is not just swiping through your brand, but actually pausing and taking those few seconds where they register who you are and have some connect with the brand, whatever that connect you want to create. So I think that's really what a lot of these filters use.
So this is not actually commerce. So you're not buying something, and a brand can basically just build a filter and then they just put it out there.
Absolutely, it's free to build a filter. Actually, absolutely, it's pretty much like creating a post. In fact, these days, you can create a post, and the same way you can create a filter and take it live. You can create a sticker and take it live. And in fact, if you put social media in the Instagram search, you'll find a whole bunch of interesting filters of, work hard, party harder, or shoot mode on. So we use a lot of these filters just for ourselves because it just makes it interesting than us saying, "Hey, work hard, party harder," right? You just have a cool sticker to go with it.